Pronto, pronto, buongiorno a tutti. Hello, hello. This is Edgar from Cremona, Italy. I have a few videos here you can search, and there's one guy who wrote last week or 2 weeks ago something about the bridge slots for the strings, right? On the bridge, and which apparently is something not interesting. I think I talked already about it several times, but I don't want you now to look all my 100 videos. But in case you look them, then you actually, once you're through that, you qualified already for my Patreon channel. But if you're not so much into making and you just want a little bit to know a little bit more things to look at, that's fine, and that's why I'm here, and I want to ask that, answer that question, because actually when I'm looking at some bridges from some colleagues of mine, then I certainly look also on these tiny details. And what apparently is completely nonsense, and this one is a maniac when it comes to certain things which are completely unnecessary and just get somehow your notches inside and throw up the strings. This might be okay for some rental instruments. I say now rental instruments, not to name now Chinese instrument. Everybody's talking bad about Chinese instruments. They're not bad, and you can also set them up very well, and sometimes it's even nice to have a nice sounding instrument, everything perfect, even so it's made in China, right? So, and gives a lot of people with much less money a great instrument to get started. So I'm very thankful for all the Chinese instruments, and if you want to have it sound the best way, remember that the string which is vibrating on your instrument is kept on 2 points. One is the upper nut, the saddle, and the other one is the bridge, right? So if you just see it already, just only from this point of view, you could imagine that how this string is laying or touching the bridge might be, could be, who knows, is interesting and important, and exactly that is it. So now here I brought here a few bridges, and without glasses I don't even see these notches here. It's certainly not a bridge of my workshop, so we don't show you. This one here is a bridge of a double bass. I took it because it's quite big. I even tried to put my name on in order that you can see it, and if you look at it you see these, and we're talking about these slots, okay? Now, when it comes to these slots, first of all, the curve has to be correct. What we don't talk about now, the curve. We are just talking about these slots where the strings lies on. You can see they're quite the same distance. But if you look more carefully, then it apparently seems that from the first to the second string, it's larger than from the second to the third. And this is because we count the center of the string always. And this is why even with strings up, it might be that it doesn't seem perfect. And since you only can see 2 strings at the time, because if you look at them all, it's certainly that these distances seem more narrow than the one you look. If you turn it a little bit, all 3 even worse. So don't, just understand that there's differences, especially when it comes to a violin, where everything is tiny, tiny, and the E string is even more tiny than tiny, and the other 3 strings are approximately the same. So the 2 distance from fourth to third, third to second seem the same if you turn the instrument. And then from the A to the E string, it seems very, very large. But it's because we calculate the center of the string, right? So, once we are through that, and we designed exactly the position of a bridge, of the string on the upper part of the bridge. Now here, this is my, more or less, I took the maximum measurement, and then I took here a cartoon bridge. Then I tried to make it even nice that you understand what's this bridge now, with here the 2 feet. And then I took this divider, and I assigned my distances. So now these distances are all the same. And of course, if you look like this one looks larger than this one and this one, right? I took 4 options. The 4 options are very similar. At first, you just have it signed, and then, let's say, a very daily life way, you just take a knife and you just push in with a knife. Yeah? And so you get something a little bit more or less like this. Now let's say you are a maker, or you saw that your maker is very, very precise making, and he takes the bridge and then he puts the knife on one position, tick, 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 turns it around, other twist. Very good sign, he shows you, and he certainly wants to give his best. And at that point, something like this turns out, because he cuts and does that on all strings. So tack, tack, right? Now, what I just wanted to tell you is, up to this point, everything fine. Now, there are people who just sign it a little bit, and then they put on the string, and because of the pressure of the string, which is actually for the diameter of a string and the pressure, it really will squeeze the wood round, right? There's just one tiny problem, that most of the time when you put a string on a piece of wood which is slightly designed, the wood is squeezed, which is also fine, but as a matter of fact, how it is made, the whole bridge, the right position will be squeezed in one direction, because the string wants a little bit to go down. So you certainly know this problem, that these strings are slipping a little bit. The major reason is that in the very beginning, the maker made it like this here, tack, tack, and put it down the string, right? So, if he made it like this, the string comes, lies down, and is actually not kept very well, okay? Because it doesn't really touch so nice, okay? So now where do I want to come to at that point? I want to make you understand that if you have a string, let's say this here is your string, that of the diameter of a string, a third of the diameter would be the idle touching point of your string on your bridge. And then, with the pressure of the strings, it will be squeezed into the right position and right depth. So we come to that point that out of something like this, which here is a little bit cartoon too big, it turns out to be something like this. And the string is touching nicely into that spot, and since it is touching all the round area around, is kept very well. So this one here is much better than something like this, where it's not kept very nice, okay? And now I show you the worst case for your string and for your vibration would be that those strings or those spots, let's say a maker who is losing a little bit is patient that the strings are moving all the time. So let's get it done perfectly. He goes in very deep, like in this spot. Now I made it cartoon-like, too deep and a little bit lousy and ugly. And it would be a little bit that the string is in here like this, is kept even better than here, is kept even more, but at that point the string is like blocked, is a little bit like glued in that spot, while here it has still the ability to vibrate and turn a little bit, okay? And this turning makes the huge difference when we're talking about these last 5% of sound quality of your instrument. So, to answer the question of my follower here who left the comment regarding the bridge slots for the strings, this is the only perfect solution, In this case, all the material above the bridge is unnecessarily vibrating, and you're losing energy and power in material which you don't use, and it's even keeping the string too tight so it doesn't vibrate free. In this version it is slipping all the time, and then you have to make it wet, and it is still continuing to loosen and swap around, and this is the worst situation. So altogether, this is the only way how you have to put your bridge slots in your bridge. And I believe that this is definitely something you can hear. I hope you enjoyed even this one. Tell your friends, and if you want to know more about violin making, then you have to sign up certainly to my Patreon channel, because I'm now making every month one video for antiquing, one video for setup. We're loading up the measurements sheets, and I make my monthly question and answer transmission, where we have a very sparkling environment and people are showing off with what they're doing, and I think the success and the quality increasing of my followers is just saying everything that this is a winning team here. See you next time. Tell your friends and sign up, or at least leave a like. Come on, doesn't cost you anything. Come on, ciao ciao.